meetings. Like usually we come up with something right in a minute. Marco led some, I led some, James led some, Matteo led some. Merlin, maybe you want to. You don't have to, but you can. Usually we start with our updates and then we go to the issue board. One thing that's a bit troublesome, or not troublesome, that makes it a bit different is that we are switching the main framework the DEP is based on from Gatsby to Next. And that makes our issue board a bit, like half of it obsolete. And I was hoping James could join because it's we are currently having like one or two little issues. Otherwise, the next implementation looks. There he is! Nice. Yay! Hey James. I was just waiting for you and explaining to Monique, who once joined us to learn about this meeting and our sprint planning. I just filled him in about the version change or framework change, and that we're mid-sprint, mid-framework migration. Yeah.
Wow. Great. Matteo's not here.
Matteo's not here. He has to move. So okay. He's busy. So I can give an update for him at least, a very global one. So we have some testers here. I tested the next implementation we have. It's looking very good. Like I wrote in dev chat that we seem to have a problem with the mainnet deployment. I'm not sure if it's the deployment or if it's the database. I think there might be something with the impact graph that doesn't talk as nicely to the front end. Otherwise, if we look at the staging deployment, it looks very good. Everything works, everything is snappy, and the other one has various issues. And so, yeah.
So staging looks good, but the next does not look good?
No, so we have a staging environment for Next now.
Right.
So I will just write those in the chat. And I can also write it out again in the dev channel, but I think I did that. So this is staging, and we have a mainnet deployment that's also like a test one, but it lets us test if what we do works with our main deployed database. Yeah, and that one, yeah, has its share of problems. Otherwise, like if we get that fixed, I think we could just move to Next and start with a clean issue board. That would be very nice.
Okay, so there's one outstanding issue that needs to be resolved before we're happy to go live, basically.
I would say it's a collection of issues, but they are rooted in the same cause. Like if we can fix the communication between the, yeah. So I'm not sure if something is wrong in the environment, but I don't think so. I think it might be something incompatible, but what it really is, I don't know. I don't know if you had a look, James. And there's also, yeah.
I feel very blind as to our state and what's going on. Like I didn't work on Giveth this week, and I mean with Matteo not being here, you know more than me probably, I would say. So yeah, that's what I know.
All right.
Yeah. So there's some issues outstanding still on Next that are unresolved, basically, and these are in the board. And once these are resolved, then we're happy to go live with Next.
At least I would say so. Like I cannot make the decision, but what do the other testers think?
Yeah, things were working mostly on Next. Like most things were working. Like the unexpected error was cleared, and then we were able to like edit and update projects, but things like once we were testing on main.next.giveth, it was like a little more buggy, a little more slow, not as quick to load. And I didn't do any testing yesterday, but I was doing testing earlier, and I know that like the last couple of days Mateo's been really busy moving, so yeah, that's kind of where we are.
Yeah, that's also what makes this dev call a bit awkward, because like he is like the front and center person right at the moment with the switch. Yeah, so Mitch, you also tested Next, I think. So we know that the mainnet version is buggy, but did you guys spot anything that you would feel we should not move to whatever is on Next?
I didn't really notice anything outstanding from testing on Next staging.
Okay,
Okay.
so I mean, it sounds like we need Mateo like to. I mean, otherwise all we can do is go by the board, right? And that should anyway be the current state of what's happening. Right?
Just update to make because I tackled some issues this week, but I think that Mateo didn't merge all the peers I made. So some are merged, but other not. So I have 3 peers that are ready and that are still pending. That's a fixed project final confirmation page. It's just a UI stuff that make the final step of creating project a bit awkward. Also, yeah, I fixed another issue. It's we could not change our wallet on XDAI, so it's okay on mainnet, but it was not possible on XDAI, but now it should be okay. I mean, once the PR is merged. And also I fixed a wallet redirection because when you click on my wallet, when you're in mainnet, it redirects to Etherscan, but when you were on XDAI, it also redirected on Etherscan instead of Blockscoot. So now it's fixed. So that's the PR that are pending. And what did I do? Also, what is merged is there was a wrong price for XDAI due to the API we use. In fact, it does not find the XDAI token, so the price was wrong. So now it's fixed. I'm just searching for DAI and not XDAI, and it works. Also, I fixed the donation search on the page My Donations. So it was not possible to in input search for a certain project. Now it should be fixed. What did I do? Also, I fixed. It's like the My Wallet issue with the redirection link to Etherscan. I fixed also that when you do a donation, there is a success model, and it was not redirecting to the right network on XDAI, so it's fixed also. And I fixed. Well, I don't know. I think it's a small UI patch on the project page.
Just a note that is all on Next. that you just said, right?
Yeah. There are 3 pairs that are not merged, so you cannot see the result on the. You cannot see the results, but yeah, it's on next.
Yep. Thank you.
And so, yeah, I think I'm up to date on the Zen Hub.
Awesome. Thanks, Merlin. I actually realized one thing that's still not working in Next, it's been pending for a long time, is that you can't add updates to projects. Just wanted to say that. Everything seems to be working mostly, except I can't update projects at all. Just this field is empty.
The
Really?
update,
Yeah.
it works for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for me.
Try different projects, because Matthew and I were finding this weird issue where projects that were made within a certain date were returning that ID null of property error. I don't know if that's the same one.
It says
Or is it just not
field
working
should
at all?
not be empty. Even if
Oh,
the field
because the
is-
title's empty. I noticed that in the screenshot that you sent, that your title was empty because there's 2 fields.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a good one.
nice.
I did the same
No, it
thing.
still
That's
says the
what
same.
happened to me.
Oh, okay.
Really? It doesn't work?
Yeah, I just added. It still doesn't work. Oh, never mind. It works. I'm sorry. It works.
No, you shouldn't be sorry. It's the user's result. It's not you. I think. No?
Thanks, Monique. I have, wait, does anyone else have any updates? Because I have a couple of things I wanted to mention to everybody.
Please do.
Awesome. Cool. So we've been talking with the Giveth team about how we want to launch the testnet for gardens, and it's going to be on Rinkeby. So it would be great if we had a version of staging on Rinkeby. And I already mentioned this to Matteo, and he was like, oh, okay, like I'll put it on my list. But yeah, and basically the idea is just that we can test everything all at once. So we can be testing gardens, and we can also be testing givebacks, and it can all be like with the Rinkeby testnet. Yeah. So.
Staging is on Rinkeby, is it not?
No, it's on Robson.
Okay.
It's on Robson.
Oh, it's on
yeah.
Robson, sorry. Okay. Yeah.
It might be a problem that we have the impact graph also on Robson. Otherwise, I think we would just need to switch the network. But then we probably also need an impact graph instance that runs on Rinkeby. Right. But yeah, we can make that.
Cool. And that'd be awesome. And then the other thing is the 3-box project verification thing, which we'd also like to, because we want to be doing like all the testing for all the giveback stuff as soon as possible. So it's like once we have like 3-box and the testnet on Rinkeby and we get gardens launched, then we can do all the testing all at once. It'd be very exciting.
That's very exciting.
Yeah. So I think Matteo is also going to work on that, but I know he's got a lot going on. This is why. So there's also, we're like looking for another backend developer, or almost looking for it. We have like the job posting, but it sort of needs to be reviewed by someone who knows. Yeah, it's just basically to bring more supporting, because he's been doing a lot with the next migration and then also moving, and then we're all here like, oh, Matteo's not here.
Yeah, he put himself in that position where he is like the absolute center point, because he made that that great migration. Yeah, I would say that comes after a move for the big website, but I can work on setting up the impact graph for Rinkeby at least.
Nice. That'd be awesome.
I mean, does 3-box even exist anymore? I believe it's now IDX, and it's like deeply integrated with ceramic and all this kind of business. So like in my mind, like I've been building an idea over the last weeks that then the future of the impact graph is in ceramic with IDX, basically, which basically makes me feel like we shouldn't be hiring a backend developer. And I also, if I'm honest about it, I feel a bit frustrated that this decision was made without even asking Matteo or me or otherwise. So I feel like completely out of sync with what I think should happen and like what is planned and what's happening, basically. Yeah, that's all I would say for now. Like, I think like we can't really rush into the 3-box thing right now. I think like we need to really take a step back and consider like the bigger picture and what we need to do before we take any of these other actions, basically. Obviously, the short-term actions are quite clear, right? Like we need to get Next.js stable and live, like that's for sure. But I really feel a bit concerned, like with how and where things are going, basically, I would say. So I don't know how to resolve that necessarily. Like I'm trying to take a step back right now, and like I don't know, maybe there's some responsibility on my shoulders. Like I also feel that like this kind of stuff is part of the reason why I'm stepping back a little, also because I've been feeling like frustrated around things like this. Anyway, not to be sad, it is very exciting. I mean, the future is amazing, but I think like we really need to consider more things before we make next actions, I would say. So I don't know what to do about that now necessarily. I think we probably need some sort of like organizational discussion first of all before it is a technical discussion. I don't know what you guys think about that, but that's what I'm feeling at the moment.
Do you have something to say, Marco? Cool.
Yeah, I share exactly the same concerns as James for quite a while now. That's one of the reasons why I initiated this like sprint plannings and try to organize stuff around here was because of the stuff that is happening right now and everything that James is talking about. Every new feature or whatever, we're just adding stuff and we're just developing stuff. There's no roadmap. There's no clear view of where we're heading, where we're going. I mean, obviously there is like a major, but we need better organization. I think that's an organizational issue. And looking at the board right now and filtering my issues, I actually moved them all to the backlog because I'm hesitant to actually start working on any of those, because I don't know what will happen with that, like in the future. Should I start redesigning this stuff? Should I align with the givebacks? What's happening with the giveback? Someone is mentioning 3-box. There's several interactions around 3-box. How are we going to go about that? Not just from the technical standpoint, but from the user standpoint as well. Like I have a lot of open questions that don't get answered week after week. And we still talk about like we're implementing this issue. You know, have a call, you know, all together and see how we can better organize, or have one person who will be responsible for, you know, planning and all that kind of stuff. But before that, all of us will need to sit down, make a list of features, and decide what our roadmap looks like in coming months. What are the major releases we want to have like this year, like this quarter, next quarter, by the end of this year, and then start planning around that. And so that will also, you know, we won't get frustrated that much when we do our work, because we know exactly what we're doing, and we will have clear tasks for each week, and we know where we're heading. And so I feel your frustrations, James. I'm having the same, and I think definitely we need to discuss this further.
I think we need to have a meta conversation, basically.
Yeah, I think a big part of it is like, I mean, a lot of like, there's not a lot of, I'm in the dev calls and I'm also in the give back calls, but there's not a lot of otherwise overlap. Like here we meet with all the devs, like we have like you guys, and then there is like mostly just like Griff, Willie, Edu, Forrest, Ashley, me. And so it's like, these two components need to like have a merger, really, you know, because it's like over there we're like, we're launching gardens, let's get like a version up on Rinkeby, cool, we need 3-box project verification, we're making verification parties, and here we're like working on the next migration, and it's just kind of like there's all these like issues that come in between and not a lot of cross communication. So I think that's where like the frustration lies, and I think also part of it has to do with like scheduling. With those meetings are like late in the evening for us in Costa Rica, so it's like middle of your night. So maybe we can, I don't know, Forrest, if you can find a meeting time for where we could come together with like devs and givebacks, and like you're saying, have this. Go ahead, Marco. You really want to say?
I don't think it's a meetings time, or it doesn't matter. Like we can do stuff async until we have like a clear roadmap, what we're actually building. We can easily align async. It doesn't matter. Like if you have calls in the middle of a night in our time or whatever, there are meeting notes, whatever. But if everybody doesnn't know where we're heading and what we're building and what our future release will look like, then we can have as many meetings as we want. We still won't get aligned. And the person you were mentioning who needs to be like the glue, I think like we call that person the Scrum Master. So that's the one who's probably going to be gluing together all these different groups. But before that, as I said, we need to have a clear roadmap. We need to have that discussion. And a similar thing, happened before at Giveth, and Kai is probably aware of that. Like we were building this, just like on the go and adding those features and all that kind of stuff. But I think we shouldn't waste our resources and our time, and we're gonna solve that by just better organization.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
let's go ahead.
Would the next step be having a roadmap meeting or roadmap discussion? Just really hammering it out.
Yeah, and I think like Willie and Griff should definitely be present on those calls, and I wanted to raise this to them already. I just didn't get a chance to, but I will speak to Griff this Friday about it. We should definitely have that, and it should be like, maybe it should be like 2 sessions. It doesn't matter, 3, as much time as we need. Just to iron out the roadmap and discuss our strategy, because that will also reflect to how and the further steps that the communications team will be doing, development team will be doing, design single person me will be doing, so it's really important to have this roadmap clear and understandable for everybody.
Okay.
I'm curious, is there a project manager for the dev team? I was under the impression that James was kind of holding the role of developer and also project manager.
Yeah, this is part of the issue also. Like I feel like this whole thing has been way too vague. I felt like I was never given authority or introduced or anything. Like I'm not involved in any decision making. It's just put in an envelope and stuck in the post. And like the reality is that like strategic directional decisions have been made by people who, in my opinion, are unqualified to make those decisions without advice, at least, of an expert. Or not that I call myself an expert in all things that we do, but like for me, it's like, and this is what I mean. It's like, it's a meta conversation that we need to have. Like, and maybe it's just me, like I'm not saying things are right or wrong. Like, I think Giveth does have a history, and we're a bunch of hippies, and I love you all. And some things work better than others, right? And like, this is not working for me for producing product. Do you know what I mean? Like, me and Matteo were working 7 days a week, like trying to get the donation app, like until we nearly burnt out. And then we got it out, and we're waiting 2 or 3 months for a token that doesn't exist. And we were completely blocked from taking any action to create the token, to create the staking contract, to create all of these things. Like I'm doing research on, I'm gonna vent. I'm just gonna stop now, because the reality is that like I need to have a conversation with people that are not on this call, and this is my problem, not yours. So I'm sorry, but like since yesterday, since Forrest, you sent me that message about can I look at the description for a backend developer? I got pissed, basically. I was just like, okay, this is like, now I'm actually angry, because I feel like that is exactly the problem, like for me personally. and I am upset. So I'll stop and shut up, and please excuse me. It's very ungraceful of me.
No. I just want to add to this, like when it comes to your comment regarding how products are built, I don't think that's a personal thing. It's actually a thing how products are built, and you're 100% right. There are some ways and frameworks and how we should be building a product, and it's not like a personal preference, and we should just follow those steps and those frameworks, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering, and because Monique was so nice to join us, who has the qualification to do many of the things that were just mentioned. What do you think? Could you help us, or do you know somebody who could help us? Do you have a clone or?
Hello, everybody. Yeah, I talked with Griff, and I'm gonna talk with Willie tomorrow, and I also talked with Lauren and Amin about joining the team, and I will be happy. But right now I'm just discovering what's the problem is, and here I can do everything that you might need. But I'm wondering, don't you have any kind of product scheduling or, designing MVPs or quarterly targets? Because I think it's essential, and it's looks very good to now. So if you don't need any of these, and you did your best, and the outcome is that website is pretty good. What's the problem? So you might not need any product owner or product manager if you happy with this routine. But if you're not, the best thing I think it's the responsibility goes over the all team members, not just one person, and everybody. Everybody no needs any authority, I think. Everyone should do its own responsibility. For example, a developer, if I put a developer hat on my head, it's my role, I have to do my responsibility. If I wear a product manager hat or a product owner hat, I have to make sure everybody accepts or quarterly targets or goals, and the next, for example, targets of or a sprint, and what we're gonna making in the next year, and what the whole map, and and it's not just the thing that I say, okay, let's do it. No, all of the team members should say it's the best thing that we have to proceed and accept it. So I'm here if I can make any help during this. I can play a role as a Scrum Master. I can play a role as Agile kind of mentor or product manager or product project kind of assistant to everyone, to you, and maybe a tester. I can join your team as a tester. But we have to do all of these things that you said. It's our responsibility. So it's the team's responsibility to have a roadmap, to be tight that roadmap, to get all things transparent for all the stakeholders, and even make it clear with a very short steps for everybody to take, even the issues. All of the issues should be very transparent, small, testable for every developers and every team members. So I'm here to help whatever the team decide. I can play a role. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to add to this one. You're completely right. This team we tried several times, it just doesn't work because like everybody on this team, as long as they know what they need to do and don't have any blockers, we're very productive. So we just need a clear roadmap, knowing what to do, and no blockers. That's all.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, sorry, Lauren.
Oh.
Go ahead.
No, you can go. I can say after.
I just wanted to say, I mean, I think Monique can really help us. And like, I actually asked Griff if you had any bandwidth or if you could potentially come on board to help us. Because I think one thing that would help us is to have like a product owner, project manager, scrum master, etc. Marco is doing a good job also, but I think it would be great to like, I mean, I believe you have a lot of experience. And so it's always great to like mix different people, bring new people in with different experiences that they can bring in what they know and their ideas, right? And things like this. But as Marco said, like, I mean, it's one part of the problem, I would say. Like the other part of the problem is the bigger strategy and how it's decided, like in this DAO democracy we have here. And like that's, I feel like it's a power that's been taken away from us, or that I never had, or something like this, that disabled my ability to actually get shit done. You know what I mean? That we couldn't decide like what is in and what is not. Like there was no fixed like milestone of like, by this time we're going to have this done. It was a constant scope creep that was decided by people that is not us. And like that's like, it's the interface of this team with the bigger Giveth itself that also needs some improvements, I would say. So I think Marco may have been referring to that, but that's kind of, I agree if that is the case, at least that's what I see anyway. There is these two aspects. I mean, yeah. So I mean, that's something else, right?
I know even at the routines or ceremonies like a sprint review or a sprint planning, the customer, all of the customer or the representative of the customer and the stakeholder should be present, and that's why we select Agile or Scrum, method for developing. So in the short period of time, all the stakeholders' requirements should be in the team. And I think why is not Griff here? Why? We decide he's not here, or he just left.
He's usually here, no?
Yeah, sometimes here. He just
sent a message to see if he had a moment to come in, but he hasn't responded. So.
Sorry.
Ashley said she sent him a message, but yeah, he's often here. He's just not here right now because he has many things as well. So
I think it's not about the strategy. It's at the old times, the strategists go to the room and decide what the developer teams do. But in this method, all the customers, all the stakeholders should be present. And after each sprint, we should decide what to do, even for the very short steps, not the very long steps. So it's a kind of, we're going to agile method of doing products, not, the old project management thing. So I think we can do it very simple by just, even instead of having several meetings, each person with the stakeholder, you should bring the stakeholder or the customer together with this team and decide and have, a longer decision-making meetings, all of us. And one should, gather all the opinions and make it clear for the team that, hey, team, the next month we should go this way. And we shouldn't have any blocker. We are at the way or not. So if any blocker exists, so hey, the other team, what should we do? Should we plan or should we go away and not develop any feature? So I think it's a problem, and it's my suggestion.
Well, and we can keep in mind too that I think by Willie's schedule, if we were to move this meeting an hour earlier, he might be able to join us, but he's not able to with it being at the time that it is. So maybe that's something to consider.
Yeah, even at the review, if the review, a representative of a customer or a stakeholder should be present. At the planning, they should be present. If we have retrospective meetings, we should tell what we think in every retrospective meeting. Hey, a stakeholder, this is my problem. Why don't you accept me to do this, to do that? Hey, team member, hey, customer, hey, tester, you blocked me. What should you do for to overhaul these problems? But it's just a method. I'm not insistent on it, and it's just the thing that I know. I worked with more than 20 teams in last 10 years for product development. Sometimes just do the old project management. Some teams pick up the Kanban method or kind of this e-safe. There are lots of methods to product development. But I think here we can go agile and select a Scrum. But the team should select that is it okay, did this or not. And as a kind of a product man, I can make our targets clear for everybody. I can take this responsibility. And also, I can design, the midterm targets. And after that, for every sprint, I will come here to the team and say, okay, these are the things that we can do. Let's see what will happen. And I can do this. And for a Scrum Master job, I can, take a look at the board every day and make it clear for everybody. If anybody has a blocker, I can instantly contact and try to move that blocker. And and even at the sprint planning, the team shouldn't accept any issue or any story. User stories that are dependent to the thing that might be a blocker. The user story should be very clear, independent, small, testable, and these are it's said that the user story should be invest, I for independent, and for a small for valuable. These are things that I know. I can set DODs, set test scenarios for this. And it's all up to you to think, is it good for the team or not? But I think right now, the main and major problem is we don't have any developer to plan.
That's a problem.
Yeah, that the planning and go to this kind of methods to project management. Getting all the things together to have the very long meetings to plan without any developer doesn't mean, I think. We have do resource management first and see is it any resource that we have to have planning for it or not. But at this point, I think that we have less than 2 persons right now. We're gonna have less than or 2 full-time persons for developing. Is meant to do the both front and back end or just the back end?
Matteo's more front end. Merlin is a wizard, and he can speak for himself.
And what about the back end developer? Do you just do it all of things you do?
What do? I do full stack. I generally prefer hanging around the back end, and Matteo generally prefers the front end. I think he can probably dig out the back end if he has to, but
you have to investigate. But I think let's see what would happen. We might not need any planning or routine ceremonies, Scrum ceremonies. But Marco knows all the things better than me. Go ahead, Marco. You're a product man.
Yeah, I mean, there are certainly ways how we can approach this. You mentioned we have a problem that we don't have a developer and how we're going to plan that. Well, when we have a planning session, we're probably going to take that into account, and then we will, you know, see which features are we going to be building, and not end up in a situation where we're preparing to build something without having the resources, and then again having some blockers. So yeah. And when it comes to like structured workshops, I can definitely help with that as well, but we just need to get on board, everybody, and set up those workshops. And then after that, Mo, if you want to help us with the, you know, technical stuff and you know, doing the writing and managing the boards and all this kind of stuff, that would be great. But yeah, anyway, we need to change something. That's definitely, we need to change something. We need to change how we approach building a product, because I'm sure, like James, you spend sometimes in consultancies. I spent my whole life in consultancies. I know how products are built. There are different approaches and ways teams build products, but like overall, it's basically the same, right? It's just like maybe different from team to team how they are organized internally. But how you build products, it's a one way, or you know, in general. So I think it's no brainer. We should do the same.
Yeah.
And yeah, as the next steps, I'm gonna suggest this to Griff next time I speak with him. I'm gonna ping Willie about it, or whoever speaks with Willie first, mention that, and we can set up something early June or next week or whenever, I don't know. So yeah.
Yeah. I think in the meantime as well, like, I mean, for all of the give back things, I actually posted the give back spec in the chat a while ago. And like, we did the sprint planning for the next couple of weeks yesterday or the day before yesterday. And then, so I think like it would be good if we could all, like you're saying, okay, well, it doesn't matter if we can't go to the meetings because we can always review the notes. But I think that would be like useful if everyone was kind of like more familiar with what's going on in there, and then can also sort of like raise flags as they come up. And then I think the other thing is like, I'm not really sure like what level of like bandwidth that like you guys have for tackling issues. Cause we're like, okay, our focus is to migrate everything over to Next and then get like our live site building with Next. And then like the last week it was like really kind of like quiet except for Matteo in the board. And so it was just, I don't know, confusing to me. And like, I was like also send a message to everyone. We didn't do any sprint planning last week. And so I was going to write these like what's happening updates, but we didn't really have anything to update. We were just kind of, okay, we're still working on this build. And then I tried to like get people to look at the board, but then like nobody really responded. And so it was also confusing. So I think like if there's more communication of like if you don't have a lot to commit to, like you don't have a lot of time to commit, then can we just like say that and say like what we can actually accomplish? And I don't know. Yeah, I tried to like encourage people to like communicate a little more, but then it's just like, there's nothing I can do. And it's just like dead air at the end of it. And so I feel like some of the frustration also comes from a lack of communication, and then there's something we can all participate better in.
Yeah, you're right. And thank you so much, Lauren, for all of your efforting and your great spirits. And I think like it's always darkest before the dawn. And I apologize for my absence. Like, as I say, like I am trying to withdraw myself at the moment anyway now. Like my short-term or medium-term future is not really with Giveth, I would say. Like most of my efforts with the way things are shaping up right now, unless some miracle happens or whatever. Like that's my intentions, I would say, like in the short to medium term. But I feel like we need to, it's like you have a relationship with friends and partners and family and all this kind of stuff, right? Like there's some unspoken business that needs to be cleared up, or some kind of like, you know, cleaning of the bucket needs to be done, and then things can really move forward together, right? But I think like it's really clear that we need some more structure and commitment, right? Like it's kind of like, you know, we plan on a more strategic level blocks of time, whereby we try to execute fixed things that do not change, that people cannot just do whatever the hell they want, whenever they want. Like we commit and agree with each other that this is what we're doing in this block of time. Do we have the resources to do that? We plan it and we do it, right? Like, I mean, things kind of degraded, I think, like for various reasons, probably a combination of reasons. So I would say we're not at our best right now, but it doesn't mean that we can't pick ourselves up again and like dust ourselves off and move forward better, right? So thank you, and I'm sorry for my part of that, basically.
I mean, it's good that you mention it because, I mean, like a lot of times we don't see everything, you know, we're off in our own circles. So I think whatever you're saying, it's part of a healthier discussion.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, now that we're looking at this like back-end developer position to hire for, is that, I mean, you were expressing frustrations around that idea, but it seems like that we obviously could use more support in that area.
Yeah, but like, who decided we need a backend developer?
Griffin and Willie said that it was decided in governance a while ago, and they were under the impression that everybody knew that.
Yeah,
right.
And I think Mateo was saying he even had like a friend, and I mean, oh, you lost your headphones. Yeah, I think oh, we can't hear you. I can't hear you. Yeah, I kind of was like, oh wow, look, we're hiring a backend developer, but then was like sort of happy about it because I can see how that's something that we're missing, a little bit more development support. And yeah, so I'm not sure like where the communication gap was, but
can you hear me?
I can hear you, Monique.
Yep.
I can't hear James, who I seem to be wanting to talk to.
Okay. You can hear me?
Yeah,
oh,
I can
yeah,
hear you.
yeah. Oh gosh, yeah.
Cool. I was like, okay, like we need more developers, that's true, right? Like what triggered me is, first of all, is that I was asked if I would do an exit interview, and that was weeks ago, and no one did it. So like, first of all, I'm asked to help hire someone before they've even asked me why I'm leaving, right, in the first place, right? And part of the reason why I'm leaving is because, like, and this is it, like, it's like, I want to write smart contracts. Mateo wants to write smart contracts, right? And then, like, the message is saying, like, okay, can you please help to, and like, Forrest, this is nothing personal against you. Please don't take it in that way at all, right? Like, it's got nothing to do with you, right? Like, the message said basically, like, can you help with this description of a backend developer? First of all, I don't think we need a backend developer. Second of all, like, don't worry about the Solidity developer role, because there's people inside the organization that are interested in doing that. I would have been interested in doing that. If someone had asked me if I want to do that, then I might not have left in the first place.
Griff told me, he said he just simply requested that we create a job description for a backend developer. And he let me know very clearly that we were not looking for someone to do smart contracts because there's already people within the organization that have expressed interest in learning more about smart contracts. So I very specifically didn't put any information about this developer position having anything to do with smart contracts or Solidity, because we have that covered internally. But I think the reason why there was a Solidity developer role previously positioned for is because we need someone fully dedicated to that who has already launched these kind of projects and can really take that on in a lead position that's not already, you know, tackling a lot of other kinds of issues as well.
Yeah, thanks, Thomas. Great.
Can I just say something?
Please.
We got 10 more minutes. I would suggest that, I mean, since this turned like into more like a governance discussion.
Oh, he froze.
We should take it to a governance meeting. Sorry, Marco, you froze for a second there.
Oh, sorry. Is it better now?
We can see you.
Well, anyway. How beautiful I am.
Yeah, you are. Oh no, he's gone again.
He's gone
anyway,
again.
Just like, let's take this to the and discuss this further. Again?
No, we caught you we got the guts of it this time.
The balcony is not your Wi-Fi's friend, or the other way around.
You can type it, Marco.
Yeah, this sounds like a lot of laundry that needs to be aired with some people that aren't in this call and figure out some of these issues. But I'm agreeing with what a lot of people are saying here, that we should maybe figure out like what our actual big strategy is. And it sounds like, Monique, maybe you have some ideas, or you will have some ideas for us, and we can get that started.
I usually can set up meetings about it. Everybody join us, and before that, we might have a very clear, draft for a strategy that everyone. Everyone see the future and thinks that we have to have these, for example, items or these targets. And after that, we start a meeting with the stakeholders. Everyone will talk about it, and we can make quarterly targets. I just know this way and not the other way. We should set quarterly goals first, and after that, we have to draw some kind of milestones, and for each milestones we have predict some release plan, and for each release plan we might have some epics, and for each epic we have to have some user stories. But back to that, we have to talk all about all these together. I don't think that 1 or 2% should do it with the stakeholder. A leader of a team should make the goal clear for everybody. And I can do this. I can make go talk with each of you and make a draft, or about our future, and set meetings to talk about it. And I can do also resource planning, investigate how much hours everybody can contribute in the team, in which role, and plan for each sprint. And these are the things that I know and can help.
Sounds good.
I also just posted in the chat, because this call was really a lot about some pent-up frustrations and some just like issues that are happening also with like miscommunication, is the gravity type form that's being used by the TEC. It's really great. So Wonka's leading the gravitons, or like the gravity section, which has a lot to do with like conflict resolution, like alternative dispute resolution using nonviolent communication and like mediation. And I think it's really awesome what they're doing. And Wonka joined our last Gov call, and not everybody was there, but he joined the last Gov call and he was like, hey, we could also use this type form. And if we could see a use with like gravity as well in Giveth, and we could maybe also get some support from him, it might be great. So anyway, and the cool thing about the type form as well, and like just in general, like gravity is like when small things happen. I think like the major issue is like when we have these small things happen and then we like compress them, we don't address them, and then they get to be like bigger things, and then they like end up like making a big explosion. So it's like even when disputes are small, like they can be like done with some kind of like mediation means like gravity, or sometimes it's just like simple. Sometimes just like saying what it is that's frustrating to you in like an honest way where you're also taking responsibility for your emotion, I think has an amazing like long-term effect. So I think it'd be great if we brought gravity more into Giveth, and this could be used right now. So I posted the type form in the chat, and that's my little spiel for it.
Thanks. I think we said we would revisit this around the Gov meeting. I also wanted to suggest we can probably also like extend Sunday meetings. Like there's the meme meeting after community call. I'm just saying this because of Willie is usually reachable on Sundays, or it's the best for him.
Also, like someone had suggested that 1 hour before this time on Wednesdays, normally we have our sprint kickoffs bi-weekly, but we've been super efficient with our pre-planning session and our debrief session and the 2 days before that oftentimes we're able to cancel the actual kickoff. So I can totally take that off the calendar. If everyone here is able to meet 1 hour earlier, then Willie would be able to join these calls. Looks like I'm getting all nods. Cool.
I can do an hour earlier. Cool. Yeah, we can do a vote on Discord.
Cool.
And would you please grant me access to that your ZenHub board?
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Kai. And I'm wondering that if we're at the middle of the sprint, or we're just at the end of the sprint.
We're at the weirdest point in this sprint.
Okay,
like I said, it's the problem is that our sprints, you know, are kind of like a glass of needles that will drop to the floor. So
okay, no problem. And
we can try to pick them up without like hurting ourselves. Sorry. What will happen is we are really working on getting our framework change live. And the issue board as it stands now concerns many issues that were part of the old framework. And then that might be fixed while with the move to the new framework. So we will also have to move the issue board. But I will invite you to both. And we are still using the Giveth -2 repo or -2 repo for for the Giveth.io deb. Just that will change very soon, and many issues will be obsolete because of the framework change. It's a bit confusing,
okay.
I guess.
Did all of you accept that we set a short target for the next of, you know, for the end of this week? Then there is the stabling the this new framework, the next framework, can make it stable. And it can be, is it what is expected at the end of the next week? I mean, can we make it stable at the you know, at the next Wednesday?
I think like we're in a get stable, get live as fast as possible situation. Like I don't think we really know where we are in terms of sprints, and like the only one who seems to know anything about the states of the application is Matteo, I would say. I mean, at least he has the best idea probably, in that we don't know what he has and has not fixed or what's on his radar as such. So I guess we should talk to Matteo whenever he's available and try and figure out the states, and then set a point in time by which we want to try and get things done by that's reasonable, and just hit resets and start again, I would say.
Okay, do you have any issues, any clear issues right now that related to this goal?
Any what?
Any bug reports or any kind of, you know, raised issues that was just related to the stabling the next Next.js platform?
I don't think so.
Mitch and I went through and did a bunch of testing on Next, and we did some test cases, and there are issues that are left behind in those test cases that came before we were testing.
We can plan for them.
Yeah.
I think. And Willie also sent the things that I think it can be an issue, and we plan for it.
And there's just like 1 or 2 issues with the impact graph, but that doesn't have to happen because we're at the top of the hour to explain it all.
Mm-hmm. Can I accept one of you, for example, Kai, please present your screen and have a short look at these issues?
Yeah. I invited you, by the way, to the repo.
I'm sorry, I need to leave because I have a call now.
Of course.
Our time is up. You know, everybody can, you know, we can end the meeting right now if you want to be time box. And can we, you know, have 5 minutes?
Yeah, I'll walk you through the board.
Bye, bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, Merlin.
Bye bye.
Actually, there is more issues.
Sorry, what?
Ashley said she has some issues.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Does that work? Yeah. I guess you talked about those here. 799, 798.
She just want to get a user testing, but
No.
she didn't make any clear.
No, it's in each of the. If you open the issues, there's a list of the issues that she linked to that were found while she did those test cases.
So let's take a look and discuss about. I think it takes time. Can we have another meeting for, you know, after with Matthew and team to plan for it?
So yeah. So I'm not quite sure how to proceed in this intermediate time. There is basically nothing that really needs to be done, it seems. Like, so if there is stuff that comes during testing of Next, we said it should go into the repository for it. So we have a clear distinction between one and the other. And there is only one issue here, one that I made. That's one of the.
I suggest that we have a short meeting with you, Kai. I have a short meeting with you, and after that we, you know, have some edits on the board. You know, I don't want to be silent until the next week. We can have a very, you know, short meetings about these issues with a, you know, a clear target for next week. For example, if we put our target being stable, we can have some issues that we focus on just those, and we don't have any have to add some features or any other things.
Yeah, sure. We can do that. That's just like the real struggle we feel, I think, is that one issue board is overloaded and the other issue board doesn't have any issues. There is a way to move issues in GitHub, so that's a good thing. Once we feel like we can be running on the new framework, we can just move the issues that are still valid there. Like you heard, we have a problem with the macro planning of the project right now. What is this sound? Marco? The sound of Zagreb.
No, it's a chopper.
It's a chopper. The sound of Zagreb 5 minutes ago. Cool. Yeah. So we do have. See, we started with sprint planning. We can visit the current sprint, and we were quite diligent for a while. You know, adding them to sprints, moving them along. But what really broke everything was that we said, hey, like Matteo did this kind of secretly. He said, hey, I have a surprise for you. Here is the next version, because we were talking from day one about, like, should we really do it on Gatsby? I don't know if you know the ins and outs of both frameworks, but like Gatsby is just not really recommended for web applications in this dimension. And so we came upon countless problems. They got all fixed by workarounds. And one sunny day, Matteo said, this is not going on any longer. We have to move to next, and just did it within a week. He ported the whole application, and the new base is so promising that yeah, we kind of immediately stopped development on the older version, because also we hit some stop gaps, which which is what made Matteo finally do this. And our development the last 2 weeks has been a bit uncoordinated in that. Matteo just, fixed whatever came up in reporting. Not everything has been captured as issues like we did before, but many things were coming in with chat, or he saw them, or Merlin saw them and fixed them. And I guess we are all hoping of moving the main deployment to next, so that we can move the whole operation there. And I think you said you wanted to plan the move as well, which we can do. We are just halfway through it. And right now there is one issue that I can make as an issue, where we don't know why only our mainnet deployment is acting up, because our staging deployment that runs on Robson is running great. And that is something that we can make as an issue that's very specific. And I think the best, or in my opinion, the best way is to really push this through, and then have the roadmap discussion in between. And because there are many features lined up, like you heard, gift bags, and there's Marco was working on rebranding. And there are some new elements. We want to restructure how we do support. So there are many things, but like we observed in this call, we're not planning the macro really well. So they were they were just put in as issues, sometimes as epics, but because of the amount of issues, and because we are not as good with issue planning as we would like to be, it's become kind of cluttered.
Once a wise man said, if you have more than 3 high priority, you don't have any priority.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah. Okay. And there are lots of issues, and lots of all of them has the owner. But I think we should do some prioritization and make a clear target for our next week. But we can go in this way, and we have during this week we'll contact each of you to decide what we should do. Thank you.
Oh, that sounds great. One thing that I want to tell you is I have to dig them up because they tend to move, but we do have a system for how we handle the contributions, and we do one thing that's working really well is that people know that like issues without an assignee should be taken, and if you are an assignee, you're responsible for moving it forward. And so that is working, but we're not so many developers, so that's fine.
Okay, we decide what to do in the next meeting. I think moving issues between the pipeline of our sprint is okay, but you shouldn't add issues back to the sprint, or in the middle of the sprint you shouldn't put some issues to the sprint. And after it has been done, making a UAT to done should also do by a representative of a customer. For example, the comms teams, the product manager, the Mitch, for example, someone who's not did the code. And we can talk about the routines in the the next meeting. Sorry.
All right. No.